The Body Shop connects you with the hottest fitness models in the world. Learn the backstage secrets that most successful bikini divas, fitness models, and bodybuilders use to dominate their competition and land on the covers of magazines. Only here at the Body Shop will we allow you to listen and talk to the best of the best in fitness competition. If you're passionate about bodybuilding and fitness, you have found your new home. All of us here at FTNS Radio would like to welcome you to the Body Shop. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome your host, Andre Brick St. Clair.
Nice. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for allowing me and the Body Shop into your homes and into your airwaves. I am your host, Andre Brick St. Clair. My in-studio co-host is Mr. Brian Canone. What
Andre,
up, B?
what's going on, Andre?
Man, you know, what are we, 21 days away now? 22 days?
Yeah,
How far are we?
Yeah, it's 3 weeks.
3 weeks. All right, so, you nervous?
Yeah, the last minute, you just hope everything comes together.
Right.
You know, just making sure that you're on track. We had a staff meeting this morning, went out for breakfast with everybody, and just kind of going over the schedule, making sure everybody knows what their job is.
Right.
Making sure the competitors get taken care of. You know, it's a lot happens all at once.
Right.
You know, everything happens at once. People, you know, your phone doesn't ring until last minute.
That's true.
You know?
That is true.
So, yeah, I was just looking at an email. Somebody's like, "Oh, you should have did all this 16 weeks ago." I'm like, "Yeah, thanks, thanks a lot." Really,
16 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Now they don't know that you actually begin to promote the show like 7 months before the actual date. You know, this man is typing up.
I'm just thinking about how to
instructions.
respond to this email. She's like, "Oh, all this stuff is great, but you should have did it 16 weeks ago." I'm like, "Okay."
16 weeks ago. Maybe she should have logged on 16 weeks ago and, actually found out exactly what's going on.
If she only knew. She's like, "You got Tony Horton, and all has happened right now. You know, you send me a video that Vince Del Monte did. Well, he just made it.
Yeah.
He just sent it to me.
Yeah. You know, I mean, I don't know what these people expect because I got the flyer from you. What, like 3.5 months ago, you was like, "Here, put this up in the gym," and I'm like,
that was
no problem.
Poster. I mean, the flyers went out in November.
Yep.
Posters went out in January. You know, we started the date was chosen. I mean, in like almost a year from now, that we booked the Oakdale. I mean, it's always the same time of year. So no, I don't know if this lady's joking around. She's a disappointment is understatement. Okay, I don't know.
She might be a newcomer to it too, you know?
I don't really understand how to respond. I don't know. But, it's hard because sometimes you get an email and you don't know how to respond to emails. You don't know if they're personal or sarcastic or, what people are saying to you at times. It's very different than having a conversation. That's why I like the show, be able to talk to people and say, "I don't know what you're saying in your email, please. Please talk to me."
Well,
they could call in. They could say, "Hey, I got a question on this.
Right.
I got a question on that."
Right.
Not just, wait till last minute and then send me something that isn't clear. But that's I think the good thing about having a radio show now is people actually hear you.
Right.
They hear what your personality is, what you like, what you're talking about, what you're passionate about, what's going on with things that are happening, and getting these competitors on the phone and talking to them too, again, about the same thing. Tell us what you want to know.
Right.
Tell us if you have any questions. Let's hear what you're doing.
Right.
Like, how's your training? How's your eating? How's your, what's your goal?
Absolutely.
What are you looking to accomplish?
Absolutely. Well, you know what? Speaking of competitors and calling in and having questions, on the line I have the winner of last year's Fitness Atlantic model.
2 years ago.
I'm sorry.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
He's corrected us now, too.
From Bristol, Connecticut. He's up there messing up my intro. That's all right. I'm going to correct him on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Body Shop, Mr. Greg Carpuso. What's up, Greg?
How you doing, guys?
Oh, man, we're doing good, man. How's everything out there?
It's going well.
Yeah.
Just rushed back because Brian said we were going to be on the radio, so I had to make sure I was available for you guys at 4.
Oh, well,
Nice.
That's what we need, That's what we need.
People to be ready. How's New York City?
It's up and down, man. It's always a task to train. You don't get a chance to be outside and do athletic training, if you will, like more or less on the running, sprinting, side of that. You got to be in the gym and be creative with what you do. But it's pretty well.
How are the gyms in New York compared to other places?
Well, they're a little smaller. I mean, they're more rustic and industrial buildings and things of that nature. But for example, I've lived in Connecticut. I was working out at some of the Gold gyms in there, and they're more or less that same size. I understand there's LA Fitness chain that's come out there, and I was training when I was in Florida, LA Fitness, and that's a gigantic gym. So
They're huge,
that's a little bit more commercial. But they have a gym, they have the equipment. You find out what you can use and how you can use it, and you make it happen.
So yeah, we have a lot of we have the Planet Fitnesses, we have LA Fitnesses here. There are the Golds up in the Hartford area that are still around. And then what do you have? Do you have a lot of New York sports clubs, Equinox?
Yep. There's sports clubs. There's Equinox. There's Crunch. There's I work out at Crunch and a Complete Body or Better Bodies on 19th Street. So a couple of them. I ventured pretty much to all three. And when I first moved to the city, I was personal training on a part-time basis just to help supplement some income. And I visited all the clubs just to find out what I liked the best.
Yeah.
And I ended up going to the Crunches just because the Equinox and the New York Sports Club seemed a little bit more commercial and for your, person who's just trying to get in mild shape. It's not more or less for, I would say for the real athletes or the people who want to get down to the nitty-gritty.
Right. Well, Crunch was really growing for a while there, and then I think they got bought out by Bally's, and then they're back on their own, I think, now. They're supposed to open up one in Norwalk. It's a low-priced model, kind of competing against Planet. But what's funny is looking at the logo, Planet Fitness actually copied that Crunch logo. Yeah. And they even copied the no judgments, to the judgment-free zone. So it's, they were blowing up for a while.
They're taking it to a different level. I've been watching those commercials they put out there. They're quite funny.
Yeah, absolutely.
Quite funny and insulting at the same time.
Right.
You know what, Craig? That's something I've always said. I sit here and I'm just like, I don't like the one with the guy at the desk and he's pow, pow, pow when he's flexing his chest. I don't know why you ever signed up for that one. And the most popular one is the, I lift things up and put them down. Oh, yeah. God. That is so ridiculous to me. Now, being out there in New York right now, okay? How are you staying on your diet? Because in New York, there's a lot of, fast food, and then you got the vendors on the side of the road. What are you doing to actually stay on track?
You got to prepare your food and carry around a cooler. I mean, that's basically it. I was just in the car on I went and had a meeting earlier today, and I packed a cooler. There's no way to stay on it without it. I mean, pretty much you cook in the beginning of the week, Sunday night or Monday night and whatnot, and try to create all your meals for the rest of the week just so you take all the temptation out of it. Mm-hmm. And, it's you can go real wrong in the New York City. I mean, like you said, you got the vendors, you got a 24-hour in my building downstairs. There's a Jubilee, which is our marketplace. It's open all the time. They make sandwiches, whatever you want. So, I mean, just take away the temptation and cook it yourself and have it prepared.
We do have those delis in New York with that whole everything. There's so much food.
It's too much food sometimes. Yeah.
Deli, yep.
Man.
Yeah, they give you good servings too.
Okay. Now, Craig, for our listeners, okay, a lot of them are going to be competing for the first time. Now, you're pretty much known as a seasoned vet. You've accomplished a lot of things in just a short period of time. You mentioned, let's just say Sundays is a day you do primarily all of your cooking for the rest of the week. Okay, so for our first-time listeners who may not fully grasp what you're saying, are you basically saying that you cook everything on Sunday and then you throw it in the freezer and you take it out as it's needed?
Kind of. I'll give you my ritual, if you will.
Absolutely.
Basically, I pretty know my macronutrients, if you will. I've had worked with many different trainers, and I'll get into them in a little bit. Mm-hmm. But I pretty much know what's required each meal. So what I try to do the best I can is estimate, how much I can take out of the fridge. I mean, certainly everything's going to be frozen when you first start it, unless you just bought it from the store and you cook it right then and there. But, you take a package of meat, if you will. If it's going to be lean beef, try to make it as lean as you can get it, 90% or better. And if it's going to be chicken, trim up the chicken, take the fat off of it and whatnot. And basically, you're just going to cook a batch. I mean, as long as it lasts, you might be cooking again on Friday if you go through it quick enough. But, after doing it for a while, you're going to estimate correctly and you know what you need. And you're going to do as much as you can to get it out of the way, because then you're going to be in the Monday through Friday grind of whatever your business is, and just you don't want to think during the week. You want to take one day, cook your meals, be prepared, and then after that, you're just going to want to just be an autopilot. You know when your meals are, you know when they're supposed to be timed, and you just want to have them done. I mean, I have the benefit of having in New York, it gets delivered at this point. I mean, you pay for the service, but it's fresh direct. I order pretty much once a week through them, and it supplies me for all my meals throughout the week, and I just pretty much cook it as soon as I get it.
Okay. So what advice would you give to someone who would say to you, you know what, I just don't have time to eat?
Good luck. I don't have time. I'll tell you what, a lot of people realize when they see me eating, and they're like, how is it so hard? It's so hard to be that way. Well, truthfully, probably eat more than most people do. Mm-hmm. A lot of these people are professionals. They're eating 1 meal, 2 meals, 3 meals, tops. We're eating 6 to 7. And, I would say a good way for people who don't have time to eat, get shakes. Go out there and find the best meal replacement shake which isn't too high in, calories to keep your nutrition on track. I mean, right. You could venture off the beaten path. There's many supplements out there that would, the labels fool you a little bit. They lead you to believe they're good, and you kind of got to do your research to find out which ones are actually the right ones for you. Some are loaded with sugar, some are loaded with different sodium or whatnot. There's just so many ways you could break down your diet. But I would say a good way to help people who don't have time to cook, don't have time to eat all the time, is be prepared, take some shakes with you, and there's shaker cups. You could buy them by the dozen, have them all over the place, and have them stacked with your favorite meal replacement or protein powder or whatnot. That's a simple way to get on track. And then after that, as soon as you start making a regular notion of when your meal should be, then you can start cooking it and figure it out from there.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
now,
great.
Someone of your caliber, and you're recommending shakes and learning about your macronutrients and your micronutrients, what supplements are you currently taking, if any?
I'm pretty good at taking the supplements when I can. It's a lot of times I'll start things and try different things in the industry, and you realize it's like, maybe it's just a little fluff. But right now, I basically supplement for the pure fact on a macronutrient basis. I want to make sure I'm getting the right protein at the right time. So mainly protein is the main part of my diet. Mm-hmm. I'm taking Dimethize ISO 100.
Okay.
It's pretty good. The calories aren't too much. It's a pretty lean protein, and not a lot of carbs in it. When I do need the carbs and need that, example, after a workout or first thing in the morning when you want to load your body with some carbs, you could take a waxy maize source. There's another one by Dimethize HUD. Or you could just look over any over-the-counter waxy maize. You're going to get basically 30 grams a scoop of carbohydrates, and you can do the math on what the calories should come out to at the end. But those are two I would say that should be in everybody's diet: some type of waxy maize, carb supplement, and some type of protein. You can get into the. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's the second time somebody brought up that waxy maize.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's a good way to get solid carbs. They get into your system pretty fast, and they're not too, they're not like the white rice. They're a little starchy and they don't taste so great. But when you mix them with shakes and whatnot, they're not so bad. And if you need them, when you need them, maybe right before a quick workout, you want to get some carbohydrates in you just to help, keep the energy going. Or right after, when you're depleted, you want to get that quick shake without having all the food. That's a good way to just supplement it.
Okay.
Why would that be better than something like, I'm asking this for general people. A lot of people drink Gatorade before they work out or something like that, or after. It's very different, though, isn't it, between those two things?
It's a waxy maize, from my understanding, is more of like a carb. It's starch. It's more the way it's been explained to me, and I'm not going to do it justice, but I know it goes into the stomach and breaks down, and it's supposed to be exit the stomach faster and be utilized faster into the bloodstream. Mm-hmm. Gatorade as well is going to help with that. Especially the whole premise of Gatorade is when you're, when you need the energy and when you need the sodium, it's going to help replenish some of the water in your body with, when you're sweating, you're getting rid of a lot of sodium. So it's a carb high that has a lot of sodium in it. From my understanding, waxy maize, when you get it, shouldn't have sodium. So it's it's a leaner way of having your carbohydrates, without adding all the extras, the sodium retaining water,
Okay.
But I have heard of people having Gatorade or some type of Gatorade source before a workout to help, get that insulin boost and whatnot.
Yeah.
Now, what would you recommend as a good post-workout, either meal or supplement?
Well, branched-chain amino acids are important. You're going to get them most of the time in some of your proteins. A lot of them are always mixed up and, in a combo pack. But, a simple branched-chain amino acid pill, if you get it with the, I think, 1-to-1 ratio with the leucine, isovaline, and there's one more, I forget. I'm not the greatest nutritionist, if you will. But,
you got good information, though.
If you really need.
Right.
And I would say some type of branched-chain amino acid is pretty beneficial after you work out. Let me think of what else. The fish oil. I don't know about just post-workout, but fish oil helps. When you start breaking down your muscles from your rigorous workouts, fish oils are going to help. It's what's the word? It's kind of like a Tylenol or like an ibuprofen. It helps the swelling and whatnot, so it helps you regulate. Let me think of post-workout as well. I just post-workout, I'm taking protein and waxy maize. Creatine is always a good one post-workout. 5 grams of creatine. I don't like mixing it with, there's a lot of supplements out there that have a concoction of different things you should take. I'm pretty good at staying away from those because they bloat me up too much, and you never know what you're getting and what you're not. Because if you look at the labels, there's a lot of them on there that have like this funny little cross-looking thing on there, and you never know what they're actually putting in or what they're not. So you don't know if you're getting 1 gram or 20 grams.
That's absolutely true.
I kind of, do each one individually. So I just get like a creatine monohydrate. I think I was taking an AST micronized creatine, just taking 5 grams, and then a glutamine source as well.
Yeah, so absolutely.
Anything like that.
Right. Now, you know what? You seem to be very, very knowledgeable about what to put into your body. Almost kind of sounds like you have a nutritionist background back there. But listen.
Very scientific. Very scientific.
Yeah, it's extremely scientific. Now, Craig, I do got to take a break, but when I come back, right, I want to know about your workouts, what it is that you do, your body part splits, and what you recommend for somebody, that's just getting into the game. So I need you to stay on the line. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to The Body Shop. We'll be right back. Welcome back to The Body Shop. I am your host, Andre Brooks St. Clair, along with my in-studio co-host, Mr. Brian Canone.
Andre.
Yes, sir.
Learning about waxy maize
Waxy
today.
maize.
Sounds
We're learning
like
about that.
you can get when you go to order sushi.
Yeah, give me. That's what I want. I want a tuna roll with the waxy maize and the wasabi sauce. You make sure you keep that coming. Actually, on the line we have fitness model extraordinaire, Mr. Craig Carpuso. And before the break, Craig was actually letting us in on just some of his supplements and what he would actually recommend to up and comers. And a lot of stuff that he uses is made by Dimetaz, and he was talking about waxy maize. Now, I'm kind of like new to this whole waxy maize thing, because I'm like, what is it? And super producer Irma was telling me, that's a fast digesting carb, and you can mix it in there.
Well, Craig's
with
talking
your
about
protein.
waxy maize, and he's shaking his head up and down. Yeah, waxy maize.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Now, Craig, with you being so knowledgeable, I mean, I kind of joked about, if you have some type of like nutritional degree or background or so on and so forth, but do you?
I don't have that. My schooling's in finance. I mean, that's where I'm a professional.
Right.
But at the same point, I've worked with a couple trainers. The first one I worked with back in the day was Alberto Rubinaccio. He was he was a bodybuilder in the MPC for a little while and had some success. And I don't know to the extent where he got his nutrition degree, but he was working with Jason Harris from that division as well.
Okay.
Who's another, pretty good nutritionist in that industry. So I picked up a lot of advice from him, and from, if you're good at anything you do, you want to do your own research. So I took what he said and did my own research and tried to, get an understanding of why I'm having things when I'm having them.
Right.
And so it's not so much I have a nutrition degree or anything, but I've done extensive research on it and finding, what works and what doesn't and why.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And now the main reason that I did ask that question, okay, is because when you go to the gym and you're starting out, you're going to ask the big guy in the gym, hey, what do you do? What do you take in? What can I do to get my arms big? And he's just going to spout off, take protein, take this, take that, take that. And you typically follow that advice, which I like to call gym science. Lift big, eat big, grow big. You took it one step further. You actually went and learned, okay, you know what? Why am I taking this? What is this doing for my body? How is this going to help me, as I'm getting ready for my next competition? And then you started learning about micronutrients, macronutrients, what exactly is this doing to the muscles? Am I growing? Am I shrinking? Am I doing this and that and that? So I want to thank you for what you just said, which is, learn about it because it's going into your body. Mm-hmm. So with you learning about the nutrients side of things, how does that affect the workout now? Like, what are you doing now preparing for the upcoming competition?
Well, certainly my diet, I would say, is the most important of anyone who wants to be in these competitions. I mean, you can ask anyone out there. I would say it's right up there with 80 to 90% of the work. Mm. And, a lot of us have, a decent body underneath all the fat if you were to strip it, but some people don't. So you certainly have to put the time and effort into the gym, and it's not going to take 1-2 years to fix it. It's going to take a good long time. I don't know how to put it. I've been working out since I've been 12. I would say in the gym on a regular basis, no breaks.
Right.
Maybe an injury sidelined me from time to time, but I've done it from a natural standpoint. I've never done any steroids or anything like that. Not anyone who's going to admit it, but I'm a natural competitor, and so I've had to take it from a standpoint of, okay, I'm going to supplement. What am I going to use? All right, what's going to work? Why is it going to work?
Right.
And I've played football my whole life, and that's kind of the background and where I get my physical nature from. The attributes that you will see on stage come a couple weeks, but the main point is you build a foundation from the bottom. You want to start with the squats. Don't be the guy in the gym starts with the bench.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? If that's a weak
Chest
point,
is on Monday night. Chest is on Monday night for everybody.
It's universal. It's Universal Chest Week.
Legs win?
Yeah,
legs?
What legs? Why am I doing? I'm wearing jeans. It's cold outside.
Biceps on Tuesdays.
Biceps is Tuesdays. See, I understand chest on Monday, back and buys on Wednesday, and then again, arms on Friday right before we go hit the club, so on and so forth. That's a typical training split for, the beach muscle crowd, you know what I mean? I want a big chest, I want big arms, and I don't care about anything else. But now, Craig, what do you actually do for your workouts?
Well, let me start with where I was going with this. Legs is how you're going to build a foundation, and just besides looking good for the girls or having a good beach body workout, if you're going to start winning some of these competitions, I went to Brian's show, I believe it was last year. There was a younger kid who won, and I think the difference that he won, or maybe 2 years ago.
Yep.
Maybe I don't even know when I won his show. Maybe it was 3 years ago. I think I won in 2009. So I'm like losing the years.
Starting to get old?
There was a kid who won. You know what? I think it was one of those shows, but I saw a kid who won, and the only difference that I saw was his legs.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? That helps in these competitions. Some of these guys, have this great upper body, but they got these little pencil legs. So, if you're serious about lifting and you want to actually do it right, start with your legs.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna build the foundation. So, on a standpoint of legs, I would say squat. Learn proper squat technique, not gym technique, not trainer. Like, you find the best trainer in the gym, not because he's the biggest guy in the gym, but you find the guy who looks like he's doing the best form, and then have him coach you. I mean, that's what I would say. Learn how to squat. And if you do it right, you're going to see the weight is going to skyrocket. You just find the right form, your body's going to shift. You're going to take your butt, you're going to have that be the first thing that moves, not your knees, and you're going to sit into it, and you're going to try to hit parallel. If you could break parallel, do it. It's not going to break your knees.
Right.
Everyone assumes it's going to. It's going to stretch your muscles out and make them work harder. And if you could start putting the weight on there, keep it going. So squat.
I always like
base of
doing
your leg
legs
workout.
on Mondays too, because everybody else really is doing chest. So the
Yeah.
squat rack's always free.
Well, that's actually if you can actually find a gym that that actually has a squat
Squat rack.
Because we know the gyms with the purple and yellow walls, they don't have a squat rack. So
Yeah. I don't want you to pick things up and put them down.
yeah, exactly. They didn't pick up anything.
All right, so from there, I would say that there's a premise too. I mean, now you're going to decide whether you're going to be someone who's going to be a power lifter style, where you're going to just go as heavy as you can go. And when you go heavy, you're not going to get the amount of reps, or you can be a volume trainer. You could be, 4 sets of 15 to 20 reps, and you're just going to pump it out. So, I mean, there's a whole premise, and depending on what you do when you work out or what part of the season you're in,
Right.
when you want to do it. So I can't really give you a cookie cutter diet or a plan for everybody, but
Right.
there's a certain way. I mean, if you could ask more specific questions, I'll try to give you better answers. But to try to get people going, squat, bench. Don't go for the heaviest poundage you can. Make sure all your form is correct first. Hit the 12 rep range, and from there you'll know if you're growing. If you're not growing, then you're going to change it up. Then you either go for more reps and more sets, or you're going to get to make the weight heavier. You know what I mean? You could start that way, but I would say 4 sets of 12 is a good place for everyone to start.
Okay, absolutely. Okay, now I'm going to ask something more specific, and that is, tell us about your workouts. Like, are you doing a typical 3-day, 1-day off split, or like?
I don't. My weeks are changing. I mean, I'm working with a trainer right now, Victor Munoz, who most of what I've done, I really feel has been on my own, and I've got my good critiques just tweaking things in your diet and in your nutrition and your workout plans through my trainers. But my current program, I'm more on a volume. I'm doing more sets, more supersets to try to help burn the muscle and burn the fat, and flood the muscle with blood at this point. And I'm trying to pose a little bit in between to try to help when you're on stage make things pop.
Right.
So you're trying to just keep your heart rate elevated while you're working out. I'm working out with headphones on when I'm not with a trainer, and just be motivated. Don't be the guy that's in the gym talking to your buddies the whole time, checking out the girl. Do that afterwards. Take a half an hour afterwards to separate yourself, and do that if you want to do it then. But while you're working out, you want to be hitting your next set. Always think ahead. I have plans for 3 years back. I can give you a stack of workout sheets from 3 years back. I'm pretty meticulous when it comes to that. I pretty much try to game plan before I'm in the gym, which is also good. The same way you should diet is be on top of it. Know what your plan's going to be when you get to the gym, so you're not there and have to think about what your next move is. Already have it on paper so you could just hit it.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? You just said that you still have your plan from 3 years back, and actually that worked for you, and you made minor adjustments here, adjustments there, so on and so forth. You should take all those things, okay, put it together, put it in an ebook, and market that out there. No, I'm serious, because that's worked for you.
Did you get the email I sent out the other day?
I got the Vince, Del Monte email.
Yeah, Craig. Vince Del Monte's a fitness model, and he hasn't competed in a few years now, but he's done some shows in Canada, and the kid, he's really good at. He talks in the same way. He loves working out, loves the diet, loves the nutrition, but he's meticulous like yourself. And he's taken a lot of that information and wrote books, and he does phenomenal, incredible. So I sent out an email the other day, and that's what I was kind of joking about. But it's in all seriousness, it's valuable information, the stuff that and it'd be a shame not to share it with people, because it's really good stuff, and you're good at really sharing that too. So in the way that you're talking now, so it's great.
Well, I appreciate it. That's a certain thought, and then maybe I'll have to get more time into it.
Ebooks and DVDs and even an audio program, just talking, you're a good speaker too. So there's a lot of ways that these competitors, part of the stuff of what we talk about in the show is really how to market yourself and how to get yourself out there. And it's not just about chasing magazine covers. It's about that's marketing, but then what do you do? And what do you have? So it's great information that you're sharing with us today.
Hopefully I can help. I mean, there's a lot of people that need to start off somewhere and get a little advice. And when I started, I wasn't really sure. I kind of, just took the football body I had and tried to transform it the best I knew how. But if you could get a little bit more insight, and there's a lot of more creative ways, and like you said, information online that you could do research now. Certainly
Right.
do it.
Absolutely. And you know what, Craig, a lot of the questions that I'm asking you, okay, even though I may know the answer to it, Brian may know the answer to it,
Yeah.
we do have a lot of, newcomers or people that are just not certain. And I remember, like, when I first started out, nobody would tell me nothing. Like, they wouldn't even show me if I was benching correctly.
Well, he made a great reference to a thing that he said. He goes, there's a lot of ways to train in these rep ranges.
Absolutely.
But unless you tell me particularly what you're looking to do,
Right.
I can't give you that answer.
Yes.
That's not the thing that somebody would normally say to you. He'd say, what should I eat if I want to do a show?
I'm going to tell you, what, eat steak. Eat steak and take protein.
But that's not the right answer, because
Exactly.
you got to know, I want to know calories, carbohydrates, proteins, fats, and the breakdowns, and what I should do on a daily basis from now. I can't do that unless I know your basal metabolic rate, what your activity level is, your calorie expenditure. So once you tell me that, then I could tell you the real answer. And
Absolutely.
that's why I really appreciate what you said before, because that's right on point.
I try not to talk out my rear, if you will.
You know what? Speaking of rare, I'm glad you said that, because if you'd have said the other word, FCC would have been up mine. So
I know I'm on the radio.
no, but we really do appreciate everything that you're saying. You know what I mean? Like, we're not just blowing smoke up yours. Okay, now, excuse me. When did you realize making a transition from football, okay, and beginning into competitions? When did you realize that maybe fitness modeling was what was going to suit you best?
Well, I was always big and bulky for football.
Okay.
My biggest I got was 235 going into my senior year, and when I compete fitness-wise, I'm usually 200 to 195, and so it's a big difference. Certainly carrying a lot of extra fat and whatnot that you need just to be, aggressive and be, impactful in football. But when I started boxing, I did a Wall Street circuit. I I trade oil. I'm a Wall Street guy. And there was a charity event going on there was different foundations they were giving money to, but there was a big charity dinner that were going on. And I was always an athlete. So I said, okay, let me box in this thing. So I got with Trinity Boxing in New York City and, put together a 3 to 6 month program with them and started boxing and started stripping down some of the fat, just training differently. Instead of being the mook that was going for power, I was, leaning up my muscles, making them a little longer and whatnot. And, when I started seeing some of the transformation, I started seeing more and more. And, I'm not to toot anyone or my own horn, if you will, but, you've always got, different looks from different people. And, sometimes they always say, oh, you should try modeling or this, that. And I just kind of put it to reality. I said, okay, I'm in New York City now. There's just a world where, pretty much anything goes, but you can certainly, advertise yourself in an aspect where you have all these professionals in the area right near you.
Exactly.
Talk to them and, take advantage. So I said, okay, I'm here. Why not take advantage? And I did a little fitness modeling actually before I got into Brian's show. But, once I did Brian's show, it kind of, it really increased my motivation to continue and go forward.
Mm-hmm.
So, I say it would start from football to boxing and seeing what I actually had underneath and, was bumped by Brian's show, a little motivation when I, got the victory there. And I said, okay, this is something I like doing. I like competing, even though you try so hard for a very short amount of time you're on stage. It's a little misleading. A lot of people are like, man, that was it? It's over? You diet for 3 months and it's over, and you're seriously on stage for 2 minutes, maybe a little longer. But after that, it's like this is something I could do, and let's make it happen. Let's make a statement and see if I could be a name in the industry.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. All right.
Definitely. So when we come back, we want to talk about the show coming up.
Definitely.
The differences of the WBFF and the route that it's going this year, and some of the photographers that are going to be there.
Absolutely. All right. Craig, I need you to stay on the line. Ladies and gentlemen, you listen to The Body Shop. We'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to The Body Shop. I am your host, Andre Brooks St. Clair, with my in-studio co-host, Mr. Brian Canone. And on the line, we have Mr. Craig Carpuso. Now, Craig.
I'm gonna correct you real quick.
Oh, say it. Can I say it again?
Carpuso, guys.
Carpuso. All right, I apologize. I tell you what, April 16th, 2011 at the Oakdale, I'll say it correctly. All right, Carpuso.
Awesome. Yeah.
There you go. Now, right before the break, you was talking to us about, taking boxing to strip away some of the fat. You also told me that you're the reason I'm almost paying $5 a gallon for gas.
Oh,
Thanks for that. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Now I got to go out and buy me a little Toyota Prius or something. So, it's all Craig's fault. All jokes aside, though, man. I mean, now you've been in men's exercise, correct?
Yep.
All right. Who did that photo shoot, and what was that experience like?
I'm gonna ruin his last name, but it's Nikos. In a moment, I will give you his last name in the right way. Let me look through my phone. Nikos Tsakinis. Tsakinis.
There you go.
His last name, Nikos.
Yep.
So sorry about that, Nikos. But we shot at Club H in New York City. There was one. I did a shoot right after. I did a different organization, the INBF, where I was got into bodybuilding. I was getting away from a little bit of the fitness modeling and trying my hand at the bodybuilding side of it. And it was a pretty good shoot. He was, I won the show. It was called the Natural Mania.
Okay.
And part of that win was, there was some financial reward, but at the same point, they were giving you a spread. And one of the magazines that was hosted by one of the editors, Rich Fitter. And, that was promised to me, and that's the way I landed that one, by winning one of the shows. So I thought that was a pretty good,
Rich is a very nice guy. Very nice guy.
Yeah.
Rich. Yeah.
He's pretty good, and he's been, pretty solid with me so far, and meeting my expectations right. And so I thank those guys for giving me that chance, but it was pretty good. I mean, they basically said, okay, we're going to shoot one of your workouts, and let's try to do something that not everyone's doing. I look in these magazines all the time, and you just see different models doing the same type of shoot.
Yes.
If you actually pick up it's the Men's Exercise March issue this year, I try to do a few things differently. I mean, there's so many ways to tweak your workouts and maybe work this ab or work that ab, if you will. And, I was just trying to give a different feel for it. But it was a pretty good experience. He's a good guy. He did some fun things with lighting. Obviously lighting creates a different look to the shadow of your muscles. And, we shot some ways that way. But, overall, it was a pretty good experience and something I look forward to do more of.
Absolutely.
I feel pretty knowledgeable in the gym. I've been doing it for a long time. And I find myself as a unique person to train a different muscle many different ways than anyone thinks to do so. So it was a good way to, show some of those different things.
Nice. Yeah. Now, you briefly mentioned that you got away from the fitness and you started going towards the bodybuilding. What made you decide to come back towards the fitness?
I did what I'm good at, I guess. I don't know. I'm not.
On that note, though.
I don't know.
On that note, talking about the competitions, when you did the show, a lot of times, and I think you asked me a question too, like what type of clothing is different now to different shows. But I remember very, very closely. Like I remember that you came out in your evening wear was very different than typical evening wear when you won the show. And I was even questioned on that. And how can this guy win? Look what he's wearing. He has sandals on. He has white on. It's like, and one guy's like, I wore something else that was, the nicest clothes you could possibly get, which is a tuxedo. And I'm like, it doesn't matter, It doesn't matter that it's like, okay, so you automatically win because there's nothing nicer to wear,
Right.
And,
Right.
it's a lot of presentation and the overall look. It's not the clothes, but who's in the clothes. So that was,
Right.
I just really recall that time because I was questioned on it, and I was like, damn, So,
I didn't realize, but I certainly was the most different on stage, which in this competition, it's about differentiating yourself. I mean, you don't want to rock the boat, which I'm surprised I nearly did.
Yep.
But at the same point, I thought, it was certainly a presentation that I was going for, which was not a good call on my part looking back for this particular fact. I was drowned out by the lights, wearing pink and wearing white on stage. I looked like a big white bubble. And I saw a picture of myself the other day from that shot, and I was like, whoa, I didn't realize what that was going to do up there. So take that in mind, anyone who's considering doing the show.
Right.
White don't work.
Right.
It worked that day.
Yeah, you got the victory on that one.
Imagine if he wore a tuxedo.
Brian, hopefully I impressed you this time, because I came out there and I was a beginner. That was my first show. That was, I'm looking at what I did, and not for nothing. I don't know that, I wouldn't have. I don't know. Not that the competition I feel was better at the time. I think I was, the best. Not to be cocky, but. Yeah. Looking at what I know now and picking up what like you guys said, being seasoned a little bit and being to different shows, that hopefully I'll show you a much better presentation of myself this time around.
Okay.
Well, I could see it just from your Facebook pictures and how you looked in your last show compared to your first one was a huge difference in your physique. You did gain a lot of muscle. Your symmetry looks better. You did different things with your hairstyle. It's just, I think it's definitely a learning experience from show to show and being able to improve on each one. So I think it's going to be great. Absolutely.
Good. I'm excited, ready for the show. It seems like it's going to be a great production, and Brian seems like he's got himself, into a pretty good organization. I know you guys are going to talk about it a little bit, but it seems like it's certainly a show at this point, and not just a competition. We had a staff meeting this morning just talking about everything that we're doing and just trying to really be on point and put together a production. Put together a show and not a contest.
Exactly.
It's a contest, yes, but it's more of a show for everybody to really be spotlighted than for one person to come out victorious in the end. We want everybody that comes through to say, you know what, that experience was the best thing I've ever, felt. And even for me, competing and stuff, I've always felt that way, that these shows have really been so important to me, that's something I've always wanted to continue with. It's been part of, like, my life, but, and that's why sometimes I'm surprised some people just do one show and stop.
Right.
Andre?
No. Don't start that. Listen, I'm going to explain why, okay?
This ain't about you.
As I've said it over and over and over again, bodybuilding is something I love. I thoroughly enjoy. The competition side of it was never really for me. I coined a phrase that your body is your trophy. I never needed a trophy to validate what I did in the gym or, how I look. So I was gorging the competition through my friends, through Brian, forcing me to do it. And, I did it. I had fun at it, but then it was time to walk away and just do something else. You know what I mean?
You don't really walk away either, though.
No,
you're on the radio show, you're emceeing all the shows.
Exactly.
You're just there, but that's what I mean. People, they kind of get into it, and it's like it's something you don't forget. When you learn all these things about diet and nutrition and training, and you're not just going to forget that. You may still go and get fatter after the show, or get out of shape, but you know how to get yourself back in shape.
Oh yeah. Right. Now, when I said walk away, I'm talking about I walked away from the competition side of it. It wasn't for me personally. I didn't get a thrill out of being backstage and watching the other guys pump up and so on and so forth. That wasn't for me. But the lifestyle I thoroughly enjoy. The friendships that I've built, that is something that's stayed with me now and has actually afforded me to do something different, like being on FTNS radio and then talking to, Craig on the line and having Brian next to me, super producer Mal, taking me around in the, in a $95,000 Audi, everything has changed, you know what I mean? Nah, all right. You know what? The IRS is listening, so let's move on from that.
I'm not saying to be quiet.
All right.
Brian, we should
Okay.
start talking about awards for these shows and monetary with that, huh?
Yeah. Now, there are going to be, slightly different changes than what you were used to 2 years ago when you competed at the Fitness Atlantic. For one, the stage is going to be completely different. You're going to have the smoke machine going, the laser lights, we got a hologram spinning in the background. Like, what actually made you decide to come back and compete again at the Fitness Atlantic?
I've stayed in touch with Brian throughout. He's a good friend with Jamel Keel. So I played football at Sacred Heart with Jamel. And he's actually the reason I did the Fitness Atlantic in the first place. I remember coming to watch him compete, back in the day, and I actually saw him at, one NPC event later on. And, I just knew, from talking to him from time to time, he's a good resource, a good person in the industry, and, someone who, I think he puts on a good show or does his best to do so. And, if it didn't go the way he wanted, I don't think it was necessarily his point of view. It would just been the athletes who maybe did or didn't come or whatnot at the point. So I think he does his best to put his best foot forward and bring to the stage and bring, a great presentation and whatnot. I know he does great. He's got a bunch of great girls that come out to the Fitness Atlantics versus some of the other competitions I've seen. His girls can smoke many of those girls, whether it was WBFF or not. It was Fitness Atlantic previously. He puts together, a great presentation with that. So I think each organization has their own, niche.
Right.
And I think Brian's doing a smart thing, branching out a little bit and growing his brand, because I've seen the way WBFF promotes and markets, different campaigns and whatnot. So I think it's, it's a great way to, build. You know what I mean? Everything these days is, if you're smart, on the internet and you can market yourself appropriately, you can get, a lot more views. And the more views, the more people interested in what you do.
Definitely.
So, I think it's a great way to, where he's going with it. But when I came back, I think I would name the one person with Jamel Keels, put me in touch. And, from that point on, I was hooked.
Okay. Now, let's fast forward just a tad bit, okay? It's April 16th.
What? Oh.
I said, yeah. I just want to fast forward a little bit. So today it's April 16th. It's, roughly 9 o'clock at night. You're announced as the winner in the fitness mile division. You earned your WBFF Pro card.
You want to do the announcement?
Nah, I'm not going to do the announcement just
Really
yet.
not going to give him the announcement?
I'm going to give it to him, though.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
All
I'm going to give it to him, saying, but I want to get the question out before I forget it.
Oh, then you want to start it
Yeah,
over?
yeah.
Okay.
There you go. All right, so you're announced as the, new WBFF Fitness Model Pro. You go on to compete in the WBFF, knowing how much they promote and how much they stand behind their athletes. What would that mean to you?
I would first know that, the organization more or less, I feel confident they do a good job. I'll give you an example. I mean, I'm going to come back to your question.
Okay.
When I went down after Brian's show a month later or two and competed in the Model Universe down in Miami. And I'm not knocking that organization or not, but I've seen the winners, and I haven't seen much what they've done with them. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I took a fifth place out of 70 guys after Brian's show in that one, and I thought that was a pretty good stepping stone because I was still fresh to the game. But truthfully, I didn't see much difference between me and the first five, so I was a little turned off by it because that's when I actually started to get into bodybuilding and said, okay, everything's going to be subjective, in the top 15, I'm sure, because you're going to see a bunch of great bodies, and it's this person likes this look or not. But at the same point, whether you were first or fifth, I didn't see a whole lot of what they did with the top 5 or the top 10 for that matter. Mm-hmm. And I think in Brian's organization now, the WBFF, from what I've noticed, I've just started tracking them over the past year and seeing what they've done with some of their winners, Rob Riches, Obi from last season, who just won the World.
Yep.
And, it seems like the organization pushes their athletes in front of different magazines and different supplement companies.
Right.
And, it makes me feel pretty good that, an organization is going to do some of the work for me. They're going to want to sponsor. They're going to want to make this person as big as it can be. Because, look, they just won this show. And you know what? If this athlete just won this show, what's that saying about my organization? So if my organization is pushing me to be the best and push me in front of everybody, then it's going to make other people want to be in that organization as well. And I think that's why I saw some headlines somewhere they have like the biggest growth in the industry, and I think it's smart.
Right.
Definitely is.
Absolutely.
That definitely is. Now, with the direction that WBFF is moving, and they're actually kind of like the pioneers of taking it not so much away from bodybuilding, but just moving it into a different direction with the fitness athletes. And, Brian and myself knows Paul Dillette personally. And Paul is very passionate about, one, his organization, and about promoting those that will help promote the WBFF. We have some athletes who just believe that, you know what, I'm competing in your show, you should promote me anyway. Hypothetically, if you hear, ladies and gentlemen, the next name I announce will be the WBFF Men's Fitness Pro. Put your hands together for Mr. Craig Carpuso. You hear that, okay? How do you intend? Yeah, you like that, huh? How do you intend to represent the WBFF and promote the WBFF?
Well, as you guys know, in my career professionally, I'm a trader, but being that I'm a self-employed trader, I could choose to work or choose not to go into work every day.
Right.
If you know the markets these days, everything's electronic, so I could choose to trade from a laptop. So it would give me a little bit more of an opportunity to focus on marketing myself, fitness-wise, or take some time to travel and brand myself, if you will. So I mean, I would obviously do what I could to live up to the name. I'm certainly not going to get big and fat in the next coming years. I'm certainly going to try to be an industry professional and someone who's going to say, I know that name, I know Craig Carpuso, I want to be like that guy.
Absolutely.
It's certainly great to have someone look up to you and say, look, I'm a new guy in the industry. Let me try to get in touch with this kid, but can I? Is he going to be too big, or are you going to be someone who's going to be pretty responsible and answer your emails and get back to people when they ask you real questions and answer them the right way, like you guys said in the gym when you went there for the first time?
Right.
Just squat and bench. Or are you going to be the guy who's going to say, okay, let me take some time, ask me some specific questions, and I'll do the best I can to answer you. And I think I'm the type of guy who can, give some time to some people and try to, change some lives if I can.
Well, you know what? You definitely sound like that guy. Now, how can somebody get in touch with you?
I'm on Facebook. You can check me on there, Craig Carpuso. You could research me by name, or you can. I have a web page that's the Craig Carpuso fan book page, and you could do it that way either. I try to put out blasts every now and again on what's going on, but I've been in hiatus. I'm trying to keep everyone quiet on until
Trying to keep the secrets. Trying to keep it a secret. All right.
I'm just waiting. I'll wait till Brian's show before I start posting any recent pictures, just to hide what I'm hiding, if you will.
All right, no problem. Well, Craig, definitely want to wish you good luck this coming April 16th. You have a motto that says, if you can't pick it, can't grow it, or kill it,
don't eat it.
Don't eat it. Don't eat it. So, Craig, wish you good luck. Thank you for calling into the Body Shop. Ladies and gentlemen, I am your host, Andre Brick St. Clair, my co-host, Mr. Brian Canone. And in closing, always remember this: success breeds envy. The best revenge you could have against a jealous person is to be successful. Keep God first and everything will be all right. Signing off. I'll see you when I see you.